they don't have water.
Indeed.
It shouldn't happen.
Let's now engage with the governor on that. And Safin, earlier on you raised a very important point. And this is on climate change. What we had witnessed last year in November, that was in the Scottish city of Glasgow, where world leaders have met and made pledges and commitments. We had our own version here in Makueni County, where it was themed multi-level governance for climate action, and county governors were present. Let's now get the account of the governor. And Governor Nathif, you were not the governor then, but in November last year in Makueni County, the heads of the county units had congregated alongside stakeholders, including donors like embassies here in Nairobi County. But then beyond the pledges made, what commitment will counties make, for example, those who have been severely affected, and Garissa in this case included in your case, in terms of budgetary allocation, in terms of programs that will alleviate the burden of the drought upon the thousands who are affected?
Let me say this. First of all, let me appreciate what the earlier speaker. I haven't got his name, but he spoke very well. He said that we can do a lot in terms of harnessing whatever water is available to us as counties. And I want to agree with that. But again, this is something that requires huge investments. What I want to say is, first of all, it's easy to throw blame games on really who is responsible, or who should be responsible, or who should do more than the other. But I think what we need here is, collective effort by, the national government, our national government. The global donor institutions are also responsible, or should be responsible, in supporting, what we are facing, which indeed is the long story of, climate change. What we need is less talk on these matters and indeed real action. The county governments that I, for instance, represent one of them, we're still very young in our history. We're still young. This is only the third, county government that we are beginning. And every year we do so much ourselves in terms of trying to mitigate, the circumstances that we face with these drought situations. But there's only so much we can do. I think what we need now is, as I was saying earlier, yes, indeed, we can harness the whatever water available to us, and the colleague has rightly mentioned, that as a long-term, solution. But that requires investment. Can we therefore put our efforts together as not only county governments, national government, the international community, the World Bank, and all the major donor institutions should come forward so that we can indeed put together our minds for real, resilient and permanent solutions. And they are there. Each of us as county governors, when we were campaigning, it's not just campaigning, by throwing words around, but we mean well for our people and for our legacy. We have in our reports each county, and I'm saying this because I know what we have been discussing as FCDC governors, as ASL governors. We have solutions. We have outlined solutions for our counties, and they all look like similar. I mentioned, for instance, my plans for 3 major dryland farming initiatives in Garissa County. One of them along the Tana River that the colleague mentioned. Another one in the Merti Aquifer in the northern part of the county, and so forth and so on. So we have the plans, we have the ideas, but the investment required is well beyond what, for instance, my budget as a county governor, can accommodate.
All right. So
we want some sincere, serious, support that should come forward quickly, instead of a lot of talk and a lot of conferencing and a lot of really time being wasted on discussing global warming or climate change. Those are realities now. We know them very well.
All right.
Well, the question is how much do we need to do? How fast can we move?
Governor, just to follow up on what you've said, of course, you've talked about some of the things that you cite as sustainable solutions. But if you look at Garissa County, about 480,000 people who could be watching you right now, majority of them did not have anything to eat last night. And they want to understand from their new governor, what missed opportunities have you already identified in terms of those sustainable solutions? And what are you going to prioritize in the next 5 years in terms of the short-term, mid-term and long-term solutions?
Well, I've already said that. I mean, other than, of course, my plans within my manifesto, within my development plans to, uplift the local economy in different ways. Because that itself also is important. And in as much as we are talking about people suffering in the rural parts of the country, i.e. my pastoralist populations. But I also have already a large number of people who lost their livestock and they have moved to the town. So a big initiative that, of course, I am bound to embark on is, first of all, to ensure that we also create some strong, sub-county economic interventions, urban interventions for that matter. Beyond that, of course, for the rural parts of the country, I've mentioned that we have big ideas for dryland farming, irrigation farming for that matter, so we can create schemes, livelihood schemes, so that we can be having, big chunks of lands where we can irrigate to create, to grow both food and food for our people. So we do have plans, and I think this is where I'll request that the donors, some of them hopefully who are listening to us, to come forward and work with us, because whatever ideas we may have, we can only sustain them to the extent that our budgets can allow. But where really we believe we can be getting some support, the bigger donor institutions who indeed do have budgets for long-term intervention. So I call upon them to come forward and work with us as FCDC counties, as ASL counties. And we are available, we have ideas, we have very, very good ideas. We have very good plans for our people. But without the necessary capital, without the necessary investment, then it really, we will not do much.
All right, Governor, we'll be coming back to you in just a bit, just to continue with this conversation. But of course, remember we are joined online by Sam Ombeki, the Senior Program Manager, Care.